A Peaceful War. Go to Amazon.com to get your audiobook.
All right, here we go.
Or you can read it.
YouTube, we're going live right now here in a minute. Facebook, we're going live in
GSBN,
Global Sports.
Global Sports Broadcasting Network.com. Streaming
Here we go.
live on GSBN and Facebook Live.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. And if you're halfway around the world in Australia, good day. How are you guys? Welcome to the Hanna Time Sports Show, Talk Show. Your host, Cornelius Brad Hanna, coming to you live from the GSBN studios. And we got another big show for you, college football, and a big topic of baseball that happened yesterday and more to come with the cheating scandal that went on in Houston and now actively being pursued by Major League Baseball with the Boston Red Sox. Big game with the Tigers last night. Which Tiger were you rooting for? LSU Tigers, Clemson Tigers, national championship football game. Very exciting. It was a good game until LSU started to pull away. LSU, you know, they're just that good of a team. Clemson had their chances. They needed a few more things to go their way last night for them to keep pace. Their quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, did not have the game he needed to have to keep pace. 17-7, Clemson winning the game. Looks like they got this game right where they needed to be to win this, up against a great LSU team. And then things flipped around, field position, and then the offense of LSU got into rhythm. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Let's talk about some of the big stars last night. Joe Burrow, the Heisman Trophy winner, 463 yards, 5 touchdowns. He ran for a touchdown. Overall, LSU's offense put up 628 yards of offense. Powerful. They had 11 penalties, LSU, for 118 yards, but that really didn't really put a big dent in that 628 yards, total yards on offense itself. For Clemson, you know what? We talked about this yesterday, and I said that the LSU's defense is good, but they get overrated a little bit too much. I felt like they were being scored upon. Teams have moved the ball on them throughout the year, the good teams, and I thought Clemson would do the same thing. Clemson put up nearly 400 yards of offense, 394. At one point in that game, it was complete dominance in the statistical category, Clemson over LSU. But things just changed. Second half, LSU pulling away, and the game planning for Clemson had to change, and they tried different attempts on offense to shake it up, get into rhythm. On defense, they went to a 4-3, 3-4. You know, they went to a 1-6 at times. I mean, whatever they can figure out, and they were off key. They were scrambling to find the right ingredient. And really, there was a bigger star other than Joe Burrow last night. His name was a wide receiver, Jamar Chase. What a night for this guy. Huge, 221 yards receiving, 9 catches, 2 touchdowns. And it was his big catches, his great speed and ability to get downfield early in the game. Early in the game where Clemson was winning 17-7, you know, or up in control. And you look at the scoreboard and you look at the stat sheet and you're thinking, wow, LSU is still kind of in it. But what's keeping them in it is these 2 big passes for touchdowns that Joe Barr had, Lamar Chase had in the early part of the game. So it was like 2 big long passes that accumulated for like 140 yards or something like that in 2 passes, right? Close to it. I may be off. But you look at the stat sheet, they had no yards rushing. They were a minus at one point, LSU, but 2 big plays. And we talked about this yesterday also, about not only turnovers and penalties, and special teams. And special teams was huge last night for Clemson. They kept pinning LSU deep in their own zone, their own end zone area, about 5-yard line, 3-yard line. 10 times, I think I counted, they had them pinned inside the 10-yard line. LSU's offense found ways to get out of that hole, stay in the game, and finally pull away. There was some controversy last night that wasn't, it was alarming. There was a big run by Edwards, the running back for LSU, who literally had his hand out of bounds, touched it out of bounds. There was no review. There was no reversal. And he ran like 30, 40 yards down the sidelines. That set up another score for LSU. Big play. Would it have mattered? We don't know. But it was a relevant play that was a big gain, a big run that helps LSU's momentum, game planning, and get into that rhythm that we were talking about earlier. Both teams try to hurry up offense, no huddle offense, trying to stay in rhythm, keep the opposing team defense tired and wear them down for that fourth quarter. And at one point, it looked like Clemson had that going very well for them. But what happened in the end, it was LSU who had control of that scenario, and a tired Clemson and they lost one of their best players, Clemson, their middle linebacker, who was kicked out of the game for targeting, which was controversial because, man, how do you kick out a ball player that was in the moment of tackling? You do lower yourself to tackle low because you're taught to tackle low and it's your shoulder, but somehow your helmet makes contact. Is it really truly targeting or just an accidental situation? They don't want you to lead with your head. That's controversial too. And when he left the game, LSU is up by 10 with the ball. And that really took away probably their best defensive player on the field, their captain, and that hurt. If there was any defensive stand in their game last night, late in the game for Clemson, they lost their heart and soul with that targeting. And I kind of went, I like the rule if it's clearly spearing, like a clear spearing of your helmet into the other person, where you're literally coming into the guy 2 feet or 2 steps in. This was too gray of a spot, and it wasn't even looking like a spearing. They looked at it, they reviewed it, and they still said it was spearing, targeting, as they put it. I didn't like it. I thought that was, and if you're Clemson, you can say, hey, there are some calls that were against you that you needed to go your way last night because it was slowly getting out of hand or you're losing it. And they never got it. They never got it. About 3 calls on the field. That's not a lot. That's not crying wolf or crying tigers. But at the bottom line is they needed those calls in their favor. That should have been in their favor, but that's the game. There are a lot of missed calls. A lot of things happen. Sometimes a little obvious. And but I was looking for a big classic finish between Lawrence and Burrow. And Lawrence just wasn't on target. A lot of deep throws. There was pressure. I don't think he was rattled by pressure as much. Just didn't look like he was on target with his throws most of the game. His numbers weren't great. He didn't look like the guy that was a week or 2 weeks ago against Ohio State. And they needed that Trevor Lawrence. For Joe Burrow, he looked like a struggling, rattled quarterback in the early going. Play calling was a challenge for them because they had a lot of times the ball deep in their end, and they were being conservative. And as LSU got more conservative, they realized their game planning was going to hold them down from moving the ball, allowing Clemson to score more points and stretch their lead, which they did, 17-7. And that's when LSU made a decision. They made a decision to go deep. They realized a lot of blitzes were coming from Clemson right up the middle. They were bringing the house a lot of times. They were not letting Joe Burrow get into rhythm, comfortable back there and put a lot of pressure, especially in those situations where field position really, really favored Clemson. But LSU took a shot, and it paid off, and it tilted the momentum and field position as Clemson struggled to get it back. It was a deep, long pass that was completed and got him out of the hole and got him into the freedom of the middle of the field where they could do more damage, and they took advantage of it. LSU, it was really one of the great team of this last 10 years. That undefeated season that was completed last night, they showed how much might and greatness they had and talent they had by being down in Louisiana in the Superdome. All eyes on their Heisman quarterback, where he could have crumbled and crushed against the defending champions. There was a lot against them, and they kept it going. They stayed with it, and they broke free, and the Tiger, with the colors of gold and blue, pulled it out. I got to give a lot of credit to Clemson and their Tigers. They were not expected to go this far from a lot of judgmental critics out there because of their conference. They belonged in that game last night. They played great, but they were playing up against a better team. LSU is that great. When you can put up 400 yards on LSU, right? 25 points, that's pretty good. That should win you a lot of games against this great LSU team. I knew that they would put up points against LSU. I knew LSU's defense was suspect. They had a great defensive front line, and then they got problems behind that. And I thought Clemson took advantage of that, and they did. They did. But when the game gets out of hand, a little bit, where your scoreboard tilts too much to one side, it doesn't benefit the team that is losing. They have to take more chances. And there's more third down and long situations, and it helps the defense out look better. And LSU's defense looks so much better with a big lead. And that's where they prospered during the season, with the big lead, where their defense can do many different things because they're protected by 2, 3, 4 scores, you know? And that's what happened. Clemson tried to keep it close. They did. I mean, for everything they got. I mean, Trevor Lawrence was 18 for 37. 234 yards. It needed to be 334 yards, and it needed to be 25 for 37. You know, he needed a tick up. Okay, they were doing well with Etienne, the running back, who had 75 yards rushing last night, but it disappeared in the second half. Even Trevor Lawrence took off 10 times, 48 yards. Right, their wide receiver, they showed up. But the best one, I thought it was Higgins, T. Higgins. I like him as a pro. Tall, lanky, strong. Couldn't find him in the second half. LSU's defense really clamped down for what they were having problems with in the first half. More numbers, too. Let's give you something else that was intriguing with this game last night. Okay, so I gave you the numbers about how it ended up. But in the first quarter of the game, no, the second quarter, the beginning of the second quarter, it was 17-7 Clemson. At that moment, Clemson had 263 yards total yards at that point, offense, where LSU had 117. And 2 of those plays were those big passes to Chase for those touchdowns. Now, that is a big deal because that's where the game was being won and you thought being decided. And then you fast forward to the end of the game where, remember, 117 yards at the beginning of the second quarter for LSU, and they ended up with 628 yards. So 500 plus yards from the second, third, and fourth quarter. For Clemson, they barely got over 180 yards or something like that. Or less than 200 yards for sure. About 180 from the second, third, and fourth quarter. It changed. but they somehow stayed in the game with the scoreboard. They hung around. They came out of the gates. They quickly scored, and you thought, here we go. We got a great second half coming. But LSU kept on putting down the pedal to the metal, and Clemson, I felt, got tired in the end and lost it. Fatigue. And losing their best defensive player. That was a tough one. That was a really tough one. If you don't remember that was late in the game. It was a big blow to their defense too, by the way. And I'm looking at one more comment here that I made from last night. I wanted to bring it to you. Is ESPN, here it is. Okay. ESPN came out with a poll last night. And here's their final top 5 ESPN FPI ranking, big top 10, if you can. Top 10 ranking. And they had Ohio State number 1 in their football power ranking for college football. Clemson was still number 2. LSU, winning the national championship last night, was number 3. Alabama was 4. Georgia was 5. Okay? There's your top 5. And they had a slew of Big Ten schools right behind it. Now, this is why I don't care about rankings. I don't care about pollings. I don't care about what you and computers think. I don't care about metrics as much because it's one on the field. All it does is give you projections or something that really, in the end, they're not holding a trophy up, Ohio State. I wish, ESPN probably should have, they want the controversy, they want the talk, and they want the arrow to point at them for exposure, to know who ESPN is still around, right? But in all reality, it was a nonsense, senseless posting of this polling that Ohio State is still number 1 in their FPI. ESPN and others that do things like that, it's a waste of time. It doesn't matter. Because in the end, it's always about the national championship trophy and who won it that day. Clemson beat Ohio State, and they did a great job. And I don't know how that loss alone doesn't drop them down a few notches if you're doing power rankings. Really strange stuff, but more news about last night's game. If you haven't noticed, a lot of smoking was going on last night. After the game, the LSU Tigers locker room was puffy, cloudy. They were smoking it up, man, with cigars. A lot of cigar smoking last night, having a good time. The young men who are national champions, 15-0, special record, goes down as one of the most historic seasons because of the record and the way they did it. And that was an offensive display last night. And Joe Burrow is quick, good, strong, going to be great for the Bengals. I hope they treat him right, take care of that guy. But last night he was smoking his cigar, and his teammates, look at the video, kind of funny. But at the same time, they deserve to enjoy their victory, the Tigers of LSU. More about last night. I don't know if you saw this or not, but did you see the exchange of money on the field with Cleveland Browns' Odell Beckham handing money out to LSU players on the field? He's showing the cash in his hand. Okay, he's showing the cash in his hand, and he's literally high-fiving the guys and sticking the money in their hands or shaking their hand. He's handing out cash. Now, cool, funny, but then I thought about it. Odell Beckham is a former LSU Tiger. He can recruit. Is there something wrong? Did he or these players that he recruited, or pushed to go to LSU, just putting it out there, I don't know where the fine line is in the gray spot with the NCAA, but it just kind of went, is that right? Is that okay that he can or should do that? Or does he care? Or does he understand something here? Maybe he's innocent, nothing's bad, but like, again, another way of another generation guy of now that doesn't care. And I thought that was not the time and the place if you're going to take care of some of the boys. He didn't care. I don't know if it's illegal or wrong against the rules, but it was kind of odd on a college football national championship post celebration on the field. This is a NCAA thing here, and somebody's handing out cash to a ball player on LSU. Not just one or two, there was a few of them. How do you feel about that? What do you say to that? Is it okay? Should we not care about it? Or is there more to it where are these guys, like we have known before, getting paid under the table by who? Agents, boosters, players, former players. You don't know where and how it's done, and that's against the rules. And for the most part, they're trying to change it. They're trying to pay athletes. They're trying to get this thing in a better spot. But again, leaving an odd taste in my mouth, like, ew. Like, what the heck? What are you doing? Right? All right, here we go. Comments coming in. Say hello to some people right now. First up, we got Gary Myers, Joe in the house, Cecilia in the house, Lavon in the house, Dawn. Here we go. Gloria in the house, Victoria. Hey, Victoria. Sly. Thank you, Gloria. Appreciate that. Tim Romaine in the house. Todd said hello and hey. Ken Bowers, Marcus in the house. Marcus Ogden in the house. Ogden in the house. Or Ogden, I should say. Jaime in the house. Stuart, Giovanni, Alfonso, Bill in the house. Antonio, AJ, MD Max in the house. We got Simon, Betsy, Dan, Christina, and Nicole in the house. Good morning, guys, ladies. Stephen Harris, Luis, Bradley, Dwayne, Andy McClure, and Dika in the house. Gosh, good job. I'm sorry, Odell Beckham is so needy of attention. I needs to have time for the spotlight. I agree. Guys on YouTube, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about seeing Odell Beckham handing out cash on the field? I'm just putting it out there. I don't want to make a big deal of it because it's not the main story, but it was a different, odd situation to see. It was very strange. All right, more comments coming in, guys. I got more to talk about. What a game it was last night, but it was a little bit, well, I would say it wasn't the main story of Monday, okay? It wasn't the big story of Monday, okay? I would say the big story was baseball. Baseball's biggest suspension and the biggest news of cheating and the scandalous part of the game that is a big no-no. We'll break it down for you right now. I do not accept the fact that you can cheat this way at all. Okay? I do not. A lot of people feel that cheating is part of the game. No, it's not. You can try to get away with it, but to say they've been doing it for years, well, they've been cheating and getting away with it for years. Okay, but it's not right. Can we get that straight? People go and steal cars. They break into people's cars and homes, and they steal. It's been going on for years. But it's not right. It's against the law. It's incorrect. It's against the rules. So when people say they've been doing it, whatever, it's still against the rules. Don't you understand? There is ethics involved and on the field of cheating and stealing signs that are in the game, within the game. You can't monitor those things as closely, and it's up to the players and to change things up on the field. But when you go outside the lines and you start to manipulate electronically, technology to take an advantage, and you get caught, you got caught. And for baseball fans and people say, well, it's been going on for a long time. No, it's not right. It's against the rules. There is no cheating allowed. Understand that. Let's talk about it more. Breaking yesterday, the news that Major League Baseball suspended Houston Astros manager and general manager. Then, following that decision, Astros owner turned around and fired his manager and general manager. They're done. Should both those guys be banned for baseball for life? I know it's harsh to say, but would you even hire somebody like that on your team? At what level? Maybe in the minor league system? But look what you're carrying around. Look at the suitcase of baggage now is part of those two. Now, those are the scapegoat. There's more involved. There's more players. There's more people involved that knew of this. The players on the Astros that knew of this should be scolded, fined, suspended, if that's the case. Think about that. They were aware of it. But it's the manager because he leads it. He could have stopped it right there. I get that. And the general manager knew. This is big. We talked about this months ago. And we talked to you about how bad this is for baseball if they do not hit them hard. And it's not hard enough in my eyes. The suspension was a slap on the hand. It should have been a ban from baseball. They banned Mickey Mantle because he was part of a casino gambling thing. They banned Pete Rose still for gambling on games that on his own team to win. And he's still banned. They banned the Black Sox, the Chicago White Sox, for throwing the World Series 100 years ago. The great White Sox team, a great team with Shoeless Joe. People have been banned in the game of baseball. And if baseball, well, it was a hard punishment. But I would put this as a ban. But they won't. It's only come down as a suspension of it. Here's the intriguing part of it. It's very possible that Joey Cora of the Boston Red Sox, the manager of the Red Sox, who won the World Series in 2018, who was part of the 2017 Houston Astros that won the World Series, and the past 3 years, Astros and Red Sox have been using this cheating technology to benefit them to beat their opponent. Red Sox punishment should be coming down. They should be fined as an organization. There should be a ban on Joey Cora. He's got to at least be suspended. And number two, other people need to be fired. The Red Sox need to fire some people out of there, just like what the Houston Astros did. And what I'm understanding and reading about is that Joey Cora is the main integral part of this entire scandal. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but he may be the beginning core of this whole process of cheating back in 2017, introducing it and making it happen that the Astros got on board with. A ban on Joey Cora from baseball looks really, really good. In a bad, sad way, but it looks like it is truly possible. It may come down today or by the end of the week. Baseball may have made a decision already. but the expectation that Joey Cora of the Boston Red Sox could be, and some people say will be, banned from baseball. Not AJ, the manager from the Astros. He got suspended and fired. I don't know if he finds a job at Major League Baseball ever again. But this is a big deal. And for people to sit there and talk about how it's bad that they suspended him. It's sad that they have to do this and take their life away. And let's think about this for a second. You want to talk about taking people's lives away? You want to talk about taking people's income away and their careers? Are you ready for this, folks? Okay, I'm going to use words from my baseball insider, Al Zayat. This is what Al said. And I agree with him, so I'm just going to read what he says, okay? Because I talked about this. I talked about how it not only impacts just wins and losses and those buffoons who do not understand that it goes beyond wins and losses. Al Zayat, GSBN insider. My view on this entire matter from its beginning is it's a financial disaster. From the lost revenue, the lost gates, food, etc., concessions of teams who lost playoff berths or extensions to the little guys who got short change may have tips that they have not or did not get. Not to mention the loss of TV revenues for those local teams, right? Or the other TV revenues that would have been profitable. It's likely that an uncountable number what was stolen from this cheating scandal. So understand that it's beyond just the wins and losses. The integrity of the game is number one, and that was not integrity. 2, you're cheating. That's not allowed. I don't care. You get away with it, you got away with it. But if you get caught, you get caught. All right? But the financial part of it is huge. How it affects. I'll go as far back. I have more about what insider Al Zayat has said. I'll go as far back as the lemonade guy who walks around, the pretzel guy, the beer guy and woman who walk around up and down the aisle, who could have gotten at least 3 more games if their team got into the playoffs. Or maybe their team was so good that they should have gotten to the World Series, and those employees of the Astros, or the employees of the Astros, not employees, of the other team, I should say. The stadium workers could have gotten another day of pay, a couple more days of pay. That means so much to them. The ushers, do you realize that either it's part-time or some of them do it full-time in different stadiums just to get by? So it trickles all the way down to the lowest level of income to the top. It affects the game financially. That is big. Further on with Al Zayat and his comment perspective on why this should never be allowed, the impact. It also impacted players' performances. Think about that. Now let's get back to the field. He says, it also impacted players' performances, which, as we know, is essential when contract talks come around. When contracts come around, think about players that could have gotten more money for winning the World Series or going to the playoffs, beating and showing, right? Or hitting the ball. How about those pitchers that were better than what they showed against the Astros? He further said this: I don't think I've been very happy as a player whoever was capable of dinging my performance. Further says, however, there's one major issue not spoken about as yet, but should be. Now, this is Al Zayat, GSBN insider, his big hammer. He says this: they won't be able to, if prospective franchises think it's rigged. This is where I think Major League Baseball must enforce penalties and more rules on the culprits, as they haven't only affected the game contemporarily, but futuristically, the future of the game. The issue of minority should not be the one at all, as Major League Baseball, if successful in or building out to other countries, will have multitudes of ethnicities, nationalities, etc. to deal with. Let's get back to that main point at the bottom. Think about what Al Zayat just said that I read to you about baseball should not allow a minority group and be accepted and claim it as I'm saying, as what people say, it's part of the game. That is a minority part of the game. And if you allow that to become the bigger story and let them get away with it, you got problems. As he put it, the issue of minority should not be one at all, as Major League Baseball, if successful in building out to other countries with multitudes of ethnicities and nationalities to deal with. And not just domestically. It goes outside the border. It goes beyond. The big part of the game, integrity. And if you allow the small, who is not the majority, who is breaking the rules, then what are you? What are the rules of the game? Now, if you want to change it, you may change the dynamic of the game completely. The essence of competition is athletic ability. Woman against woman, man against man, man against woman, whatever you want to do it. It's man on man, one-on-one competition. And who can outbeat and win that battle? Whatever battle that is on the basketball, hockey, baseball, football, soccer playing field that it is. That is the essence of competition and the success of the thrill of victory. It goes all the way back to ancient times of competition. And cheating has been always there. Teams and you probably have cheated away to win, take advantage. There's cheating going on every play. There's cheating on every football play. Somebody's holding somebody, right? But they're penalizing them. In basketball, there's cheating going on. Somebody's going to do something and try to get away with it. Those are within the game. And the referees need to officiate that and throw the flag and blow the whistle. But it's still not right. It's still not allowed. It's incorrect. It's against the rules. And when you allow, in one way, a barbaric approach to win games, you are destroying the integrity of your sport, because it then opens doors for more barbaric cheating in your game. You have to close this deal fast, furious, and hard. It's not even a deal. This issue, this scandal, it's not a scandal anymore. It is real. The Houston Astros have cheated. They got busted for it. And it's bigger than what most people are even hearing right now, because Major League Baseball would never have gone this far. This is not an attempt to just satisfy the population of people. This is about integrity. And if baseball wants to maintain its main big integrity, which for so long has been so strong, you need to cut this right now and stop it. And one more big hammer is coming. It's coming into the likes of Joey Cora and the Boston Red Sox. They're going to lose draft picks for the next couple of years. They're going to lose their manager forever. He's going to get banned for what it looks like. The general manager needs to be gone. And we need to look at the ownership. If you're an owner of the Astros and the Red Sox, I think Major League Baseball and the other owners need to come down harder on them. Now, they took away draft picks that affects the overall part of the team, and there's fines. The owners need to be hit hard too, because it is their team. And if they're putting it in the hands of other leaders to lead their team, and they're taking the brunt of it, well, you need to take a lot of it too, the owners. I remember the New York Yankees general manager, Cashman, because the Yankees caught the Red Sox. Yeah, the Red Sox too. They caught the Red Sox doing cheating about a year ago, over a year ago, with Joey Cora as the manager, by the way. But last baseball postseason, they discovered the cheating tactics again. And the Yankees were aware of it. And the Yankees were pissed off. There was legitimate yelling, cursing at the Astros dugout coming from the Yankees fielders, coming from the Yankees third base coach, yelling at the Astros third baseman, telling him, yelling at him, you better effing get, and fix this right. The Yankees were pissed because they knew it before, and now it's happening again. There's a lot of questions now. Did Altuve know what pitch was coming when he hit the home run, the walk-off home run? The Yankees also, in their report, noticed a blinking red light coming from the outfield wall, notifying the batter what type of pitch is coming. Blinking light. Whatever sequence of a blink they got, the batter knew what to expect. And now you're asking other teams to adjust and change up everything. That's part of the game, right? That's what you say. Oh, it's all part of the game. You got to change it up. You got to keep them off balance. Everybody's looking for the advantage. I get that. But now you went too far. Now it's outside the game. Now it's manipulated cheating. It's manipulating cheating. If I'm standing on second base and I happen to see that the catcher puts down two fingers and I tap my helmet to let my teammate who's batting that it's going to be a breaking ball, that's not manipulation. It's in the game, in the moment, and you're finding things out. But if you're going outside the lines and you're manipulating cheating, like Spygate of the world of the New England Patriots, that's a problem. Big problem. Some people are saying, if Joey Cora gets banned, why didn't Bill Belichick get banned? I like that question. To put it out there. Good job to our GSBN insider, Al Zayat, once again, about the baseball scandal. His strongest point, and he made a lot of them. He talked about the financial effect, how it destroys and hurts, limits the financial side of the game in people's lives. Not only employees of the organizations, we're talking about radio stations and TV stations and their sales teams who can go out and sell commercial spots because their team's in the World Series now. TV ratings for those networks and TV revenue. Players with contracts. Pitchers who are looking for a contract and need a big performance, but it didn't go well because they pitched against the Houston Astros or the Boston Red Sox. But his strongest point, once again, is you cannot allow a minority of a large group to overhaul and take over or allow them to get away with something that is by rule and against the rules. If you want to be a successful business and to grow and expand, you have rules in place. and your integrity is bigger, especially on the global stage where baseball has gone over to Japan, Mexico, London, Canada. You go all over the world, baseball, Korea. Baseball is growing. They're playing the game of baseball. You need to make sure that your integrity, the message is sent out globally, not just domestically. And a bigger ban or a bigger punishment is coming down for Joey Cora of the Boston Red Sox, the manager. Any comments coming in? I got more about this. More about this. Scotty, Manny, Yotis in the house, Michael in the house. Good morning, guys. Good afternoon, good evening. Lorraine in the house. All right, let's move it along. Same topic. Same topic. Here is a Boston Red Sox fan. His posting about Joey Cora. Not only will Joey Cora be fired by this coming Friday, which is Fan Fest weekend being held at the MGM Casino in Springfield, Massachusetts. His point is, get rid of what is a bad thing right now. If you're doing a festival for team and spirit and fan and morale, you don't want this hanging over your big weekend of Fan Fest. But when the final report comes out by Major League Baseball for the Red Sox 2018 season, the final consequence will be Joey Cora being banned for a lifetime eligibility within Major League Baseball. Cora has cost millions of dollars to baseball in the long run and possibly revenue that the Dodgers lost, the Yankees lost, back-to-back titles for the Dodgers say too. Cora will be finding himself in Puerto Rico this coming weekend, helping out his countrymen with the earthquakes. However, it will take a lifetime of repair by Cora, who has damaged Major League Baseball and the integrity of the game. That is coming right from a big-time loyal Boston Red Sox fan who is disgusted with this, tired of this. The Astros got hit hard. Maybe they should be hit harder. But it sounds like Joey Cora is the core of this entire cheating scandal that is now becoming reality of punishment. The banning of Joey Cora would send a big, riveting message throughout baseball and throughout the world of all the baseball lovers and leagues around the world. This is not how we do it, and this is not how we want the game to be played. Financial, big deal, and integrity, a big deal. And if you're going to survive, you can't survive without the integrity and the financial support or the financial wins and losses that happen. Can't survive. Cannot survive. You need people. You need people around your organization. All right. But here's the other side to this topic. Tim Flannery, former Major League Baseball player and coach, really did not like the punishment. He has a different angle. This is what Tim Flannery, former Major League Baseball, said. I feel a need to speak out. Normal is changing. And today's norm is not the norm. Or his norm. Well, no, I'll have to disagree with that. For 26 years, I was in the big leagues. 10 as a player, 16 as a third base coach, 20 if you count the other years learning the craft in the minor leagues from Boise to Wichita. The seriousness of the writer, the expertise from the front office man, the commissioner, to those who never lived it, here it is. I have 25 World Series games under my belt. 7 elimination games, and a 7th game of a World Series. 5 World Series, 3 World Series championships. And I know it don't mean much to those in the front of a computer with the answer and all the rules, Tim Flannery. So I'm going to make a long story short. I had a video camera on every third base coach every single night. I spent hours logging tapes trying to steal your signs, finding a way to beat you. You as well did it in New York. I knew that because the Mets did it with Bobby Valentine. I knew it with the Chicago Cubs. They did it. I knew that the Diamondbacks of Arizona, they did it. I knew that the St. Louis Cardinals did it. I caught them. That's when the fun begins. You F them up by changing signs. You tell the boys, if I put up a hit and run on the first pitch, don't do anything. They'll pitch out, and now they don't have the signs. You are in a hitter's count. The list goes on and on. If you aren't smart enough, and believe me, this isn't rocket science, it's being somewhat aware. If it's your fault, now the game is turned into no breaking up double plays, don't slide hard at home, don't block the plate. If you're not creative enough to derail them, you've stopped thinking. I agree with that. But I don't agree what he said earlier. I'll talk about that. As far as some of the greatest baseball writers who I love and read and listen to and hang with, you are so off on the sign stuff. It's a high-stakes poker game. Big money, especially as coaches. If you get caught, if your signs are stolen, and you don't know in the moment that they are close, they are on you. You're not thinking. And now, because of that, you're going to lose a battle. That is Tim Flannery, played or is in Major League Baseball for over 26 years of his life. Major League Baseball, professional, as a player, as a coach. The thing I understand and agree with is within the game, you are finding and discovering things out about your opponent. And you do go home and you do watch tape for your own players and for the other teams and try to study what they do and what are their tendencies in situational baseball and sign stealing or their sign signals that they give their players. And you're trying to find out what they're doing, right? That's okay. But now you got to think about this, Tim Flannery. It was still wrong. It's still unethical. We want the game to be as pure and integrity-wise as possible. But at the acceptance level, we accept the fact that within the game, during the game, you're finding and discovering things out, or you know their tendencies because you played them before, or you watch video and you do your studies. That's what everybody does in all sports. They watch a lot of video, and there's a video room, and there's a video team that hands out video and sends it out to the players and coaches to review. And you find and discover things along the way about your opposing team. Now, if you're going to manipulate during a game with cameras and being that obvious with sound and blinking red lights and using an eye watch like the Boston Red Sox did and other things that they did, you're going outside the lines. You're looking. It's not on the field. That's not on the field. And that's where baseball doesn't want and accept it. Now think about this. If everybody had a chance to do everything the way the Red Sox did it and the Houston Astros did it, cheating and stealing signs. This is not just stealing signs of a batter knowing what pitch is coming. And if you can accept that, then that means you don't have the integrity of the game. Because now you have a major, major, major disadvantage And how does a pitcher survive? Now you change the game. Now you're going to say, well, then the pitchers have to constantly change signals. Well, a lot of things are going to go wrong. For one, the game's going to get stretched out because they're going to change signals and they're not going to agree on something. There's going to be confusion with pitcher and catcher. There's going to be a lot of delays involved, I see. Baseball doesn't want that. The fans don't want that. So if everybody had cameras and you can cheat as much as you want, and they don't call it cheating, it's allowed. Is it really baseball? Is it really baseball? When your pitcher really doesn't know what pitch to throw. Oh, but we changed the signs. You can't change the signs because they'll pick up on your pattern again. That they switched it to a 2. Fastball's 2 now. All right, fastball's 2. And they get the signal, the loud noise, the banging noise, the blinking lights that the batter can see. How much is that competition? Is this all about the computers and technology of the game itself, or is this about the God-given athletic ability of man and woman to compete in the best fairness of competition? And if you're trying to get an advantage, you can find it in other ways. But when you go outside the lines and you tilt the competition level, I don't think there is a big deal for a pitcher in baseball if the batter knows what pitch is coming. Think about that. You might as well put a pitching machine out there. And then you're just going to get home run derbies, and you're going to get a lot of offense, and the game is changed forever that way. Now, does somebody want to create a baseball league with all that technology, and you can, like XFL wants to do stuff? Go ahead. Go ahead. But the bottom line is the integrity of the game itself, of fairness of competition. The game how it was played. When you played ball on the street as a kid, didn't you argue and fight because they were cheating? You go to the basketball courts outside and you're hooping it up at the park. Didn't you argue and fight over 3 seconds violations in basketball? Fouling, hand checking, right? Goaltending. Didn't you argue and fight? I know we did when we were kids. That's because we were trying to play by the rules. And we wanted to be fair. And we tried. And yes, people will try to get an advantage. That is competition in a lot of ways too. But when you go outside the lines of the game and you manipulate a lot of outcomes. What is the game? What is it for now? And you affect many lives doing it for your selfish way, not the integrity way of the game. Affecting many people's lives other than benefiting you, which is, hey, if you can win, you can win, right? But when you're doing it against the rules and manipulating it, it goes beyond that. It goes beyond wins and losses. And if baseball did not do anything like they're going to do to Joey Cora and what they did to the Houston Astros, then baseball has lost control in their own integrity of the game. The one thing about baseball that hung on is that you don't break rules. And there is integrity that is so strong. That's why I said to you many years ago, and that's why I said it just recently, the best commissioner in baseball in my lifetime was Bowie Kuhn. The things that he tried to do for the integrity of the game, the popularity of the game, under his watch, the growth of the athlete financially, the balance of fairness of competition, he never would have allowed this to happen. Never. And it would have been probably harder on the Astros and the Red Sox. A lot harder. I remember David Stern got a lot of love when he passed away. Rest in peace, David Stern. But a commissioner needs to be strong and lay down the law when it really affects the game, its popularity, its growth, that integrity, and that financial side of things. You have to lay it down heavy and hard. But the game, the integrity, the love, the peace, the comfort that fans want to feel that everything is fair play, even though they know there are things going on within the game, during the game, they want to make sure that this is fair. And when you lose that, you lose the fans. At many levels, you can lose a fan. David Stern got a lot of praise. Unfortunately, David Stern did a lot of bad things for basketball too. Talk to the people in Seattle, the Supersonics. Talk about the letting the players, the star players, get away with traveling, fouling, or giving them the 3-point, or the continuation shot, the foul, letting the referees make sure, manipulating the game. That's what we got with David Stern, and people don't want to talk about that. Talk about how he was a genius. Genius of growing your sport through manipulation of protecting your stars, giving them the best platform possible. Meanwhile, the other team struggled and lost money because of it. Not my integrity of a commissioner. And then you go talk about the Seattle Supersonics basketball team who lost their team to Oklahoma City. So there's a reason why that happened. And it starts from the top. Baseball's commissioner, Manfred, is better do it right. So far, it's gone okay. We need more. Because your sport's integrity and character is now being questioned if you don't take care of it. But David Stern got away with a lot of things. When Katrina, the hurricane in New Orleans, Louisiana, that part of the Gulf, got hit, wiped out Louisiana. At the time, Seattle Supersonics were struggling with their team. They were struggling to get a new arena. And that has to do with another political thing in Seattle. But there was a lot of money there. There was a lot of people wanting, and there was no doubt the fans were willing to spend the money to build it. But for some odd reason, it was never getting to the point to keep them. The Seattle Supersonics was Seattle's first love of a professional team at that level. And they ripped them from the city because of this. David Stern made a deal. David Stern, as a commissioner, made a deal with Oklahoma City, with a person who owned a stadium in Oklahoma City, allowing the New Orleans basketball team to play in the basketball arena in Oklahoma City. But the promise on the deal that in the end, that Oklahoma City will get a professional basketball team, and this guy will get an NBA basketball team. That was the deal. That was a dirty deal. So they went after Seattle, and for some reason, it was being blocked for them to build their arena. For some reason, there was a lot of skepticism, political stuff going on, but a lot of it was coming from the NBA office and David Stern. They were pushing for Seattle to go to Oklahoma City to take care of the promise, the deal that was made to satisfy the NBA to put the New Orleans basketball franchise in Oklahoma City until they could fix and clean up New Orleans. That's how it broke down. So when we get into integrity from commissioners, from owners, managers, players, general managers, it matters. It matters from the top to the bottom. Baseball, to my point, has been very strong on integrity. And this is their moment right now to show it once again, to hold on to their great integrity of their sport. Cheating is not allowed. Cheating is against the rules. Tim Flannery, you got away with it, but it's still against the rules. And today's game in baseball, that way of cheating Boston Red Sox and Houston Astros was not allowed. It was implemented against the rules of the game. What is rule of the game? Not allowing you to use technology. From an iWatch to cameras to channeling video line into your dugout area to manipulate and steal signs. Not good. Baseball, the hammer, finish it, slam it hard, take down this Boston Red Sox scandal part of it too. It needs to get done. Boston will be happy to. Boston's fans know too that it is right, and the best thing to do is to get rid of it. They don't want that around their organization, and the fans in Boston don't want it. The fans in Houston probably are disgusted also. You cannot defend it. Cannot defend it. All right, we're going to wrap it up, folks. I hope you enjoyed this part of the show. I have comments coming in. Thank you for joining me on YouTube. But here's some late comments coming in. Todd, Belichick doesn't get hammered because the NFL commissioner. Yeah, that is possible. I understand. Mary in the house, Miguel in the house. Todd, why is it that Tom Brady being looked at as questioned for his tactics? Good point. I don't know if Tom is fully involved, but he was aware of the Deflategate. Wilson in the house, DMC in the house, JT in the house. All right, guys. John, Robert, Warren, Denise, and Michelle in the house. How are you guys? Okay, let's wrap it up. Good show. National Championship College Football. We talked about it. We broke it down really nicely for you. And we broke down and talked about the big scandal of baseball, the cheating, the stealing of the signs, and how Houston gets punished. People got fired. And now Boston Red Sox and your manager and your team, we're waiting to see what happens to you. It doesn't look good. It looks really bad. It looks worse. Here we go. It's Tuesday. Pay attention to the news on the board, on the headlines, and we'll find out more about this baseball story with the Red Sox, how it plays out. And as we get ready for the NFL championship games, AFC, NFC, Sunday, winners go to the Super Bowl. Until tomorrow, we'll bring it back to you tomorrow. More sports on a hump day right here on YouTube Live, Facebook, and Global Sports Broadcasting Network. This is Hanna time. We'll talk to you tomorrow, everybody.